So you're thinking of working in the UK, or maybe you're already here, but have you thought about the realities of actually working in the UK, like the culture shock, the challenges that come with working in the UK as an immigrant? Let's talk about the things that nobody really talks about when they think of working in the UK. This video is sponsored by Lemfi. I'm going to share more about them later on in the video. Let's talk about the fast-paced culture of working in the UK. Working in the UK, you don't have a break. If you're working 9 to 5, you are working 9 to 5. You have 30 minutes or 1 hour of lunch break. That is what you have. There's no way for you to just dilly-dally around at work. You have to actually do the work. If you're in a corporate environment, you're literally going to get to work, respond to all those emails, attend all those meetings, and God bless you that you share your calendar with your team members and your line manager. Then they're going to try to fix meetings at every time that you didn't even anticipate meetings should be held. Yes, including like very early mornings and very late evenings. Depending on the industry and the location that you work in the UK, then it could be a lot more fast-paced or a little slower for you. For me, I would say that I have been lucky enough to work in a public sector, higher education, where there's a little bit of work-life balance. It's fast-paced, but it's not something that I cannot handle. But I've had friends who are working in the private sector, and if you text them by 8 p.m., 9 p.m., they are still working. Even if they are working from home, I had a friend who by 10 p.m., she will still be on work calls. So it depends on your industry. I would definitely say that working in the private sector is more hectic than working in the public sector. Like in the healthcare sector, they would tell you if you're working on shifts, there are no breaks until you actually have a break that is recorded. So you can't be lying around maybe on your phone or chit-chatting with people. I'm not saying you cannot chit-chat. You can chit chat, but I'm saying that compared to where I'm coming from, the work culture is really fast paced. They expect you to turn around things very quickly. And if you're not used to that kind of mindset in the workplace, you may struggle. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to prepare your mind so that you know what you're getting yourself into. I'm going to share at the end of this video if it is worth actually just working in the UK, because I'm going to break down everything. The salaries, the pay, the cost of living, commute time. Is it really worth it? Leaving your family all alone wherever you're coming from. I come from Nigeria. My family is back at home. I've literally lived here for years, and I'm doing life alone, working and just living my own life here. Is it worth it? It's a lot of sacrifice. So before you make that decision to move, you have to take a lot of things into consideration. Also, based on your priorities, is family your priority? Is being close to your friends and family your priority? Is making money your priority? I consider a lot of people who move abroad to work, who search for work opportunities abroad, as people that are really money conscious. Chasing money is not a bad thing. Money helps our lives. Money solves a lot of problems for us. So it is not a bad thing if you're chasing money. Of course, when I left Nigeria to come to the UK to work, it's because I wanted a better living for myself. So I quite understand. But then you have to know that you cannot eat your cake and have it back. You cannot have it all. So you're going to get that good job. You're probably going to make a lot of money, but your social life might be suffering. Your family life might be suffering. You may have to be catching up with family after they have attended events that you have missed. So have that in mind. So depending on where you work, you may have 30 minutes or 1 hour of lunch break, and that's usually the time that you would take your lunch. Like for me, if I brought lunch to work, I would go and have my lunch, or I just go to the canteen to get food. But one thing about UK culture that I noticed as an immigrant is that during lunch, your colleagues actually want to have lunch with you. And for somebody like me, I actually like my space. I like my own corner. And because of the kind of work I do, is more personal. So you, as an individual, you have your portfolio of contracts. As a lawyer, you have your portfolio of work, and you focus on that and you get it delivered. I can take on a task and start it from the beginning to the end all by myself. Now, when I go into the workplace, of course, I'm going to do my work. I'm going to do everything. And then when it's my lunchtime, I actually just want to go out for lunch by myself. And as a content creator, that's the time where I check my YouTube channel, I check my posts, I respond to your comments on the channel, I check my personal email to see if anybody has emailed me. That's the time that I want to actually do the things that are personal to me. But in the UK culture, in British culture, lots of the times you will see that your colleagues want to go for lunch and they're asking you, oh, KUSKUS, do you want to join us for lunch? And you cannot just be saying no every time because it will look awkward. So sometimes I just have to go for lunch with them. So think about that, because you would have to be social. You cannot not be social. Let's just put it out there. You will have to be social, even if you're an introvert, even if you're an ambivert, whatever you think you are, you will have to be social in the British workplace. And I'm going to explain more much later. Let's talk about the salaries. I understand that leaving your home country to come and work in the UK is for a better living. You want to earn more money. You want to make a better life for yourself, also so that you can also support your family back at home. But before you make that decision to move, before you accept that job offer, you need to consider the package, the salary. What is it like as compared to the cost of living? Yes, you might hear £50,000 and think, oh, that's a lot of money. But you're not going to spend that money in your home country. You are going to be spending that money in the UK. And God bless you that you live in London. London has a high cost of living. So this is how you do the math. The up north you go, the lesser your cost of living. When you're closer to the south, which is London, the more your cost of living. Also in the Midlands, places like Manchester, Birmingham also have a relatively high cost of living because of the amount of people that are in this city. So the bigger the city, the higher the cost of living. The smaller the city, the smaller the cost of living will be. So as much as you might be hearing that fat sum of money, and when you convert it to your local currency, it seems like a lot of money, hold on, pause. You have to take into account your actual cost of living. For instance, rent. Obviously, rent is going to be your highest spend in a month because your rent is going to be probably the highest thing you're going to spend. But apart from rent, you still have to pay bills. You still have to pay electricity. And during winter, electricity costs would literally quadruple. So it's not just double, it's not just triple. It would be 4 times what you used to pay during summer. I am experiencing that right now, and it is not funny. Assuming that you're getting that £50,000 check and then you have to pay your bills, take note that you're not taking home £50,000. At the end of the day, after all the deductions, the taxes, the national insurance, the pension deductions, you're likely going to be going home with about 30-something K or maybe a little above 40K. So divide that into 12 months. Let's say your gross take home, because if you're earning about 50K pounds, your gross take home may be around 4,300, 4,400. Be rest assured that your monthly deductions would be more than 20%, because if your gross is about 4,300, 4,500, just know that what's going to be left in your pocket will be around 3,600, 3,700. Yes, every time I look at my pay slip, I weep. I weep because, God, am I just working to pay taxes? Why all these deductions? Now, not all the deductions are for the government, okay? So they're going to tax you. You're going to pay national insurance. The national insurance deductions goes to healthcare services. Your taxes are deducted, and then your pensions are actually for you because your employer will also match the contribution of your pension. So pension contributions actually depend on employer. So for instance, if you're contributing 10%, your employer may contribute 8%. So it's like you saving money for retirement. Fine, I like that. I'm saving money for retirement, but at the end of the day, the deductions is just a lot. Why are you deducting almost £1,000 of my monthly take home? That's a lot of money. So you have to consider that. So when you see or hear about the fat paycheck, you're going to be taxed, my dear. You're not going to go home with all that money. So have that in mind. This is another thing that you have to consider when you're considering a job change or a promotion or getting another job that pays you higher. UK has a progressive tax system, which means that the higher you earn, the higher you contribute for taxes and national insurance. So the question is, do you want to be taxed up to 40% of your income? Because right now, currently, when I look at the deductions, which is about 20 to 25%, I feel so heartbroken. Now, imagine that you get a job that's paying you like 100K and you're going to be taxed about 40% of that. No, even the thought of it is quite painful. At the end of the day, if your current job at your country is not really worth it financial-wise, then it might be advisable to move and come to the UK to work. Because for me, with my experience, even with all the deductions, I'm still able to save and invest and also send money home, which is why I am so happy about the sponsors of this video, Lemfi, okay? So Lemfi allows you to send money from the UK to Nigeria and other African countries, up to 10 African countries. And once you send this money, it is an instant transfer to a local bank account in the country that you're sending the money to. It is zero transfer fees. So when you send the money, it is zero transfer fees. Transfer is instant, and you can easily send money to your loved ones. This money that you're making in the UK, you cannot neglect your family and friends. So you have to send the money. I send money every time using Lemfi, and I can testify that their services are very good. It is fast and it is efficient. Now, if you use the link in the description box to this video and download the Lemfi app and register your details and use it to send money, you can use my referral code KUSKUS and you're going to get £5 reward. And if you send up to £100 and more for the first time, you're also going to get £15 cash back if you use my referral code KUSKUS. Do not forget to use my referral code KUSKUS. So it's a win-win. So you're sending money and you're also getting money. Thanks to Lemfi for sponsoring this video. Now let's talk about another culture shock that you may find in the UK. I know that from where I'm coming from Nigeria. The work environment is very friendly, it's very nice. That's the same thing actually in the UK. However, the work culture here is that small talk is a thing. Now, what is small talk, you might say? Small talk is small talk. I can literally not define it, but it's just a conversation, a shallow conversation. You're not going too deep, nothing personal, just conversation about the weather. Oh, maybe you're having tea or coffee. What's happening? Maybe there was a football match. What did you do over the weekend? What are your Christmas plans? Guys, this is November and I can't imagine how many people have asked me what my Christmas plans are going to be. Like, you guys plan that far. Yes, they plan that far and they talk about it. So for instance, in my team, I literally know what literally everybody's going to do during Christmas, because we've talked about it not once, not twice, repeatedly, over and over and over again. So small talk is a thing. If you go to the coffee room and you find someone there, you cannot just say good morning or good afternoon and move on. You have to throw in a little small talk here and there. Oh, how's your day been? Oh, where did you go during the weekend? Be rest assured, you're going to always tell them what your weekend plans are. You're going to tell them what you did over the weekend when you come back on Monday. So it forces you to be interactive, and even if that's not your normal way, you might just think that, oh, I want to just go in, work on my laptop, close my laptop and go. No, because you're going to be tagged as not aligning with the work culture, okay? You don't want to do that. As an immigrant, you don't want to significantly identify yourself as not being able to blend into the culture, because you left your home country to their country. And of course, you have your differences as well, but that does not mean that you should not integrate into the culture. So the earlier you integrate into the culture, the better for you. Another thing you need to notice that most jobs, especially jobs in the hospitality industry, would require you to drive. And for you to drive in the UK, you need a driver's license. And also note that UK drives on the left-hand side. So depending on where you're coming from, I come from Nigeria, we drive on the right-hand side. I used to drive in Nigeria, but it took me a while to start driving in the UK. So that might also impair your chances of getting certain jobs. But if you're interested in getting your driver's license in the UK, of course, I have several videos about that, and I will link them in the description box so you can watch and know how to begin the process. So those are the different ways of integrating into the culture: getting your driver's license, knowing how to make small talks in the office, and just making sure that you smile. Also, the British work environment, you have to be very diplomatic. No, there's no aggression. Depending on the industry, I work in the public sector and it is very diplomatic. You cannot be angry, you cannot exert anger. Even if someone has done something wrong, you have to express it in a very diplomatic way. See, you can do something wrong and they will let you know that you've done something wrong, but you will not know that that was something wrong. I don't know how to explain it. Like, they are not going to tell you did something wrong. In fact, they're just going to tell you that, I think that, maybe you should have done it this way, you should have done it that way. But at the end of the day, they are very polite in their approach and they expect you to do the same as well. They don't expect you to go all out or be overly aggressive. No, not even overly aggressive. You're not even supposed to be aggressive at all. And you don't want to be that colleague that is tagged aggressive and rude and not diplomatic or not well cultured. Okay, so keep your anger to yourself, express it at home. When somebody does something to you at work that is upsetting, go out and call your friend and rant, but you're not going to rant to your work colleagues. It never worked. In my former workplace, I had an immigrant that we literally shared the same experiences, so it was easier for me to rant with him. Both of us were ranting to each other because we are immigrants, we understand how it works. You cannot go and be ranting to a British person. That is not cultured wise. Even if you want to rant, make sure it's very shallow, it's not deep, and after a while you guys will just smile and leave. You don't want to be that colleague that is tagged aggressive or not being able to relate with other people, because that's going to be a flaw to your soft skill. You need to demonstrate that you have soft skill, you can handle conflict, you can handle disagreements in a very polite manner. Let's talk about how the weather can affect your productivity at work. We all know that the winter is not even a funny period. As an immigrant coming from a country that weather is always like 28 degrees, 30 degrees is sunshine, and then being in a place where like today it was 0 degrees, it was snowing, I noticed that during winter I feel drowsy. So the weather really affects your productivity. For me, I remember in my former workplace, it was always very cold. Maybe I'll wear so many things because I'm trying to warm up, or you be warm, I'll wear so many things that at the end of the day, I'm not very flexible, okay? So it would affect the way I walk, it will affect my mood. If you don't have a lot of sunshine, it would weigh you down, it will affect your mood, okay? And these are the things that affect your productivity. So if you are not consciously making sure that you're doing the work that you're meant to do, your productivity might be affected during winter. And even during summer, you find out people are always traveling, people are always on leave. You might find it difficult to get work done because if you needed to get something from another person, they might be on leave for like 2 weeks. So the weather plays a huge role in the work culture in the UK. During winter, for me as an immigrant, I struggle and I just need things to keep me awake. I used to really take a lot of coffee only to realize that coffee is not good for me. So you need to find a way to keep you awake. You need to find a way to stay alert during winter. And for me, I try to go into the office. Thank God my current workplace is not as cold, so it's a bit warm. I'm literally one of the only people in my office that dresses extremely warm. Like I am always dressed warm, even when other people feel like is warm enough, I'm still wearing like 3-4 sweaters because I'm always cold. And if I don't dress extra, if I don't really dress warm, if I'm cold, I cannot work. And when I'm really cold, it triggers my migraine. So those are the things that really affect your productivity. The weather is an important factor, and also the weather is always a good conversation starter. So about the small talk, somebody can say, oh, Kuskus, I don't know what to say. Start with the weather. Oh my God, sunshine today. Could you imagine? Oh, once you say that, the next 10 minutes you guys are talking about the weather. Now, one thing that is actually exciting about UK work culture is the fact that most employers have embraced flexible working. Say that also introduces a bit of work-life balance to the system. I work from home 2 days or 3 days a week, and I go into the office 2 or 3 times a week. So that is very flexible for me, because if commuting is much difficult, like getting me out of bed in the morning is the most difficult part of my day. Once I get out of bed is good, but getting me out of that bed is very difficult. So for someone like me who is not a morning person, days I'm working from home, I sleep in until when it's time for me to work. I just wake up, I log in, and I work. So it helps me be able to balance up, because if I had to go to work from Monday to Friday, I will be miserable. I promise you, I will be miserable, because it's very cold. Now that it's winter, 7 o'clock is not really bright, and then by 4 p.m. it's dark. So all of that ties into affecting my mood. That flexible working system helps me. Some days I'm in the office, so I think that it helps for my work-life balance, because it means I can at least have a good sleep the days I don't have to go into the office. Wake up, work in the comfort of my home, have a good lunch, because most times when I'm in the office, I have to buy lunch that I probably don't like, but at least when I'm at home, I make my lunch and I enjoy my meal. So at least some employers have tried to include that flexible working system, which encourages work-life balance. Now, something that would really excite you about working in the UK is the annual leave culture. They like their leave. They take their annual leave. And in the UK, depending on where you work, you can have between 26 days to 30 days of annual leave. And you can always take your annual leave. Like where I work, anytime I request annual leave, as long as it does not clash with maybe what I'm supposed, an important meeting, or if any other person is not taking leave at that time, I will always get my annual leave. I remember when I was in Nigeria, whenever I applied for annual leave, my HR will be looking at me like they had the right to decline. But I don't think I've ever applied for annual leave here and it was declined. So they are very open to taking annual leave. And it's not just annual leave. They have statutory paid sick leave. They have compassionate leave. You know, if you have a bereavement, you can take a compassionate leave. If you're sick, I think they have like statutory 5 days paid sick leave at a time. So you don't have to work when you're sick, and you don't have to bother about, oh, I'm not going to be paid because I took a sick leave. They still get to pay you. So those are the perks of actually working in the UK, because I know as compared to the US, it's not like that. US, you don't have as much annual paid leave. So UK is actually good. I'll give it to UK in that aspect. I think another thing that I love about working here is the fact that they are very much aware of mental health, and they support their employees. It could be that you're having issues with your personal life, your relationship, your finances, anything at all. They have avenues to support on mental health issues. So that's one thing that I like. And these avenues are usually anonymous, and you can take advantage of them. So depending on the kind of job that you want and your industry, it is worth it to come and work in the UK, leaving your home country to come and work in the UK. But you have to weigh the pros and cons so that you don't make a decision that you will regret, so that you don't come to the UK and now say, oh, I didn't think it was gonna be like this. It's not what they say it is. I'm telling you that at the end of the day, if you get a job with a good pay, before you accept any role, compare the cost of living. Is it worth it to put in all this work and pay all these taxes and save and invest? So yes, for me, I would say it is worth it. I actually like working in the UK. So I like the work culture. It's not actually really stressing. I like my colleagues. So it depends on where you work. I wish you guys the best. And if you're looking for a job, you should check out my video about how to find a job in the UK. I will link it in the description box. I've done several videos on this channel about how to get jobs and tips on how to submit good applications, CV tips, and all of that. So check the description box to find this video. And if you have not used Lemfi to send money home, if you don't have an account here, check the link in the description box. Download the Lemfi app, use it to send money for the first time, and you're going to get £5 reward. And if you send up to £100 or more for the first time, you're also going to get £15 cash back if you use my referral code KUSKUS. Okay, do not forget to use my referral code KUSKUS. Guys, let me know in the comment section if you can relate to this video and what has been your experience of working in the UK. If you're not yet working in the UK and you're job hunting, let me know if you have any questions, and I'll be happy to address them in the comment section. I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye.